What's up, you guys? Thanks for checking out my channel. My name is Grady, and I listen to country music here. And today I'm not going to do a reaction. I'm going to do an album roundup. This is not something I've ever done before on this channel, but there's so many albums that have come out in this front half of the year, and there's a lot of ones I want to cover. And album reviews take a long time, and there's just no way I was going to actually make a video for all these, and it was starting to drive me crazy. And I said, well, what if I just did all the April albums that I wasn't able to cover in one video? And I thought it could be a fun way to do it. Before I start the video, I do want to mention, because I'm still super proud of it, I launched my own beard care company this week. If anyone has watched this channel for a while, you know I rate things out of 10 beards. So something will get 7 out of 10 beards. That's how I've always done it, but I now have a beard care company called Stash, and this is my first product, a beard oil. I'll have a link in the description if you want to check it out. I'd really appreciate it. It's a good gift, and it smells awesome. Anyway, into this video. Here's how I want to do it. I thought that a good format for this would be to go from my favorite album of April all the way to my least favorite album of April, covering everything along the way. If I've done a review already of something, then I will just say, check out that review. So without further ado, let's get into it. First up, we've got John Prine's The Tree of Forgiveness. I gave this one 8.5 out of 10 beards. I did a whole review on it. It is just, if you're a lyric nerd, it is the best thing in the world. His lyrics are wry and super mundane, but super profound at the same time. John Prine, I saw a headline that called him your favorite songwriter's favorite songwriter, and I think that's totally true. That's exactly how this album comes across to me. I love it. It's my favorite of the month of April, and I think you should check it out too. My second favorite album of the month is Joshua Hedley's Mr. Jukebox. Joshua Hedley is not a newcomer to Nashville. He's a very known performer in kind of the cover bands of lower Broadway in Nashville, and he is a great fiddle player and a great songwriter and has a super classic sound. Now, for some people, that sound might be a little too put on or something, and they'll think it's an act, but it's totally not. He is a classic country fan to the core. This album reminded me of I have some old Glenn Campbell records and some Willie Nelson ones, and this album definitely puts me in that vibe. It's funny. It's so short. It's a half hour of just like good classic country wonderfulness. It sounds smooth. There's a lot of songs about tears. There's a song called Counting All My Tears, another one called I Never Shed a Tear, another one called Don't Waste Your Tears. The song we're listening to right now is called Weird Thought Thinker. That's a very funny lyric and cheerful in a way. I think this album it feels somber and romantic and eclectic and classic. It ends with a cover of When You Wish Upon a Star that even brings in a little bit of accordion, and it reminds me of Venice in a way. I'll play that in the background for the rest of this. But I think this album has such whimsy, has such a light spirit about it, but also has a real dark spirit about it too. There's a lot of breakups. There's a lot of that kind of self-loathing of classic country music, but it is completely charming. I love it. It knocked my socks off, and I listened to it over and over and over again. It's not trying to be on modern mainstream radio. This is the kind of thing that is so country that it's not country. Country radio is not country. I can't say that enough, but I don't know what people that like country radio would do with this album, because it's a classic country beauty. But I give it 8 out of 10 beards. Love it, and I think you should check it out. The third album I want to talk about today is from Brothers Osborne, and it's called Port St. Joe. I won't talk much about this because I have a whole review, so check that out on my channel. But this album is funky, kind of beach country. It's really cool. It captures the vibe of the Gulf Coast so well, and it's a party album in a way. And it took me a couple listens to figure this album out. It's kind of naughtiness, it's sexiness, it's fun, but it feels sunny, warm, great. Gave it 7 out of 10 beards, or 7.5. It's actually continued to go up in my mind since my first review, and I just love it. So check it out. Very, very great album. The fourth album I want to talk about today is Restoration, the songs of Elton John and Bernie Taupin. This is a really cool album. So if you didn't know, 2 albums were released in tribute to Elton John and his writing partner, Bernie Taupin, who's the lyricist. One was called Revamp, that had all these pop artists redoing Elton songs. And then there was one called Restoration that was the Nashville edition. And guys, Restoration's way better than Revamp. There's so many cool songs in this. You've got Miranda, and I don't know most of them. It's just a testament to the interesting lyrics that are in these songs that they hold up. And there are very few songs that I actually knew going into this. Little Big Town sings Rocket Man. That's obviously one of Elton's biggest hits. And that sounds cool, and the harmonics with all the kind of spacey production. Sounds really cool. You got Miley Cyrus singing The Bitch Is Back, and I just want Miley to go country so bad. You got Brothers Osborne singing Take Me to the Pilot. You've got Miranda Lambert doing a really cool song called My Father's Gun about a Confederate soldier wanting to avenge his father's death, and it's kind of weird and this interesting kind of army story. Really cool storytelling on this. Other people on it are Maren Morris and Casey Musgraves and Dierks Bentley and Willie Nelson singing a cool one called Border Song that's pretty timely. Chris Stapleton's on here. Guys, it's loaded. This was curated very well, giving it 7 out of 10 beards. It's so fun to listen to, and if I spent more time with it and knew more of these songs, it would probably be higher. A lot of good albums this month. It's very fun to talk about. Guys, there's one record I forgot to talk about, so I'm just going to insert this in the video wherever it goes in the rankings, and that is Muscadine Bloodline's EP, Moving On. I'd never heard Muscadine Bloodline before, and I just saw this was up pretty high on iTunes one day, and I gave it a listen. I was super impressed. This is a duo that comes from down in Alabama, and they have really interesting cadences and really great harmonies, and a really nice, just like, warm, rooted sound. No drum loops, no snap tracks. Man, I'm just so anti those right now. But to me, the songwriting on this made me laugh. The song called "Put Me on a Pond." They mentioned '90s country. It just feels really cool and fresh, but also reverent and traditional, and also like its cadences are so different. I really like how the guy delivers his lyrics. So super impressed with that. I'd give it. Man, it's only 5 songs, so it's hard to give it an official grade, but I'm going to say 7 out of 10, and, you know, if that was a fleshed-out album, it could go way higher than that. So, really like them, really glad to have discovered them, and I hope they can take off soon. Next album I would probably talk about now, if I'd actually heard it, is Willie Nelson's new one. I'm really just putting this in here to confess that I didn't get to listen to that album. So I'm not going to pretend I did and review it, but I have to think, even if I didn't love it, it would probably go about right here in the video, because it's going to go in terms of the quality of the albums from here to the end of the video. Alright, you guys, the next album I'm talking about is Jason Aldean's Rearview Town. Now, I don't hate this album, but I'm pretty close to hating this album. It is what you might expect from Jason Aldean. There's lots of blustering bravado and a lot of, you know, big kind of like macho guitar riffs, but increasingly, ever since Burning It Down, a lot more kind of drum loops and even some trap drum loops, and even the return of Jason Aldean rapping like on Dirt Road Anthem. There's a lot to be annoyed with here, but I think there's also a few good parts of this album. Drowns the Whiskey, his collaboration with Miranda Lambert, is a really good lyric, I think. I don't love all the production on the track, but I think the little gimmick of the song is that whiskey is supposed to drown the memory, but the memory drowns the whiskey. I think that's a pretty cool lyric. I think Better at Being Who I Am is actually a pretty cool song with some good lyrics. There's this part where he's like, for a while I thought it was like the sex would change me from being in this rut that I'm in, but it didn't. And I don't know, that's kind of like a cool, interesting, actual bit of transparency behind all the bravado that's on this record. Man, there's a lot that I don't like at all. There's a song called Like You Were Mine. I gotta play this. There's so much auto-tune on this track, and it is absolutely infuriating to listen to. Ride All Night's another one that I don't really like. Yeah, the drum loops kill me on this album, and they just make it feel so cheesy to me. Like, this would be such a boring concert to go to. I think he actually does rock a lot better than he does this kind of smooth, like, rap thing. You Make It Easy, I think, is a really good song. I think Better at Being Who I Am is a good song. I think High Noon Neon is a good song, but on the whole, I think it's a really obnoxious, long record. 15 songs. I think this could be way better at like 10 songs, especially because some of them start to contradict each other. Like Rearview Town, the title track, is all about kind of leaving. And I'm leaving, like, this town, I'm leaving it in my rear view. I'm putting it in my past. But then you have a song like Better at Being Who I Am that's like, well, I just am who I am. And it doesn't feel like he's trying to progress at all. There's a lot of lyrical contradictions here. That said, self-contained, there's some good song lyrics. So I'm going to give this like 4.5 beards out of 10. Don't love it. I'm glad for You Make It Easy, but it is definitely an outlier within this record. But come on, Jason Aldean. He's so good when he wants to be, but I don't know that he wants to be. And finally, my least favorite country album of April 2018 is absolutely, unequivocally, Keith Urban's Graffiti You. I do not get this album at all. I do not get why it needs to be 52 minutes long. I do not get, like, the consistently bad lyrics put over extremely poppy productions. I'm not even going to make fun of the production style. Keith Urban, I mean, if there's any meaning to the word country anymore, and I don't know that there is, this album's not that interested in being that. But even aside from it not trying to be a country record, but being marketed as country, like, the songs just aren't good. I'm actually okay with artists kind of exploring. I'm totally fine with Taylor Swift going and saying, I want to be a pop artist. The thing is, her lyrics stayed really good when she went to pop. The thing I get frustrated with is when these big country stars make pop records and their lyrics start to suck. They become thoughtless. They become about Saturday nights. They become about driving. They become about hot bodies and clubbing. And they have the song we're listening to right now called Gemini has one of the dumbest lyrics I have heard in forever, which is he's singing about a girl and she's more than just one thing. And he says she's a maniac in the bed and a brainiac in her head. And either that's a really patronizing line, like in her head she's a brainiac, or it's a really stupid line, because, like, where else would you be a brainiac? You know, like your elbow. I don't know. It's so I don't get it, and it just sounds so. It sounds like a shopping mall. This whole record. It's just these pulsating beats. All these songs are so long, and they drone on and on. It's like someone just playing with all these synthesizers. There's someone here called My Wave that I think that it kind of sums up where Keith Urban seems to be musically. There's a better way to live this life. You gotta find your way and just sing it. There's a better way to feel alright. Let it all go, let love take control. I just ride on a wave so free, just you and me, coming alive. It feels so good watching the world go by. Doing my thing out here, vibing, riding my wave, every day. Why would I want to live any other way than riding my wave? I mean, that is like... The lyrics on this album are nauseating to me. I think they're just... dumb. And maybe Keith, I don't know. Maybe he's plays the big stadiums, and so he is used to, like, a very shallow level of interaction with other people around him, and he kind of sees his duty in life maybe to just be entertaining and not deep and be a distraction. But good gracious, it makes for a sort of depressing album. There's a few things on here I kind of like. Parallel Line, which was originally the first single from this record, I actually think that's a pretty good song, even though I wish it was Parallel Lines. Female is somehow the countryest song on this record, but you guys know how I feel about that song. I think it is pretty patronizing, even if I think its intentions are good. And Steal My Thunder is an okay idea, but again, just this is a very beat-driven, groove-driven record, but they feel very synthy, hair salon, shopping mall kind of vibe to me. So, not a fan at all. There's a song called Drop Top on here that I gotta just play a little bit of this chorus. I mean, I don't know how old Keith Urban is. I think he's like 50 or pushing that. It feels kind of embarrassing to me, personally. So I give this album 3 out of 10 beards. Didn't care for it at all. Let me know what you guys thought about these records. Let me know what you listened to in April, what you really enjoyed, if you agree with my rankings, kind of what you would throw into the mix. Am I crazy for hating this Keith Urban record as much as I do? Because I think it's bad. Jason Aldean, it's kind of grown on me as I listen to it, and all the others beyond that are really solid albums. I thought it was a really good month of music. And between those things, and then we also had Caitlin Smith and Ashley McBryde and Casey Musgraves come out before April, we're off to a really good start of music this year. So, yeah, tell me what your thoughts are. Give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit the little bell. Buy my beard oil. And I'll stop hawking it all the time, guys. I'm just really excited. This has been a lot of work. Yeah, whatever. Goodbye.